Coach, just talk about the excitement, getting another chance to play another ball game and playing against a 10-win Louisiana team.
Yeah, there's no question. We got a great challenge in front of us. We're playing against a team in this bowl game that competed for a conference championship. Has very talented players, has players, all conference type players, player of the year type players, within their conference and whatnot. So they've been, for us on defense, they've been pretty productive on offense the last couple of years here, and especially this year, focusing on what they do in the run game and the pass game. Pretty balanced offense. It's going to require us to do a good job at the line of scrimmage, be very good in pass coverage. They'll take what you give them, and they can move the ball vertically down the field. So we're coming out of our prep practices, as we call them, where we're really focusing on ourselves, applying the self-scout things that we've learned from the last couple games of the year. As we've had bye weeks throughout the course of the year, we've self-scouted, worked on the things we need to out of those windows, and we keep doing that as we go. And essentially, these first couple prep practices are a good time to improve fundamentally, technically, operationally, and then you get into game plan practices, and the intent's to be a lot sharper than you were.
Emphasis on kind of focusing on more of you guys' selves. So that has more to do with the fact that Louisiana has had a couple of their top offensive guys hit the portal. And how does that kind of change how you approach preparing for a team that?
Yeah, personnel is always a big deal in this game, especially on offense, who you're trying to get the ball to. Even on defense, who you're trying to cover with, who you're trying to blitz with, all those things. For us, it doesn't change anything about our preparation in terms of, our plan all along was to take these first couple practices and again, use it as bye-week practices where we can focus on ourselves, building our skill sets, our fundamentals, our tools, how we operate. The bottom line is, too, you can't go 3-4 weeks practicing on the same opponent. I think everybody would get tired of it. So now, today was our first practice where we jump into opponent scout and essentially get a bonus week, just like we would at the beginning of the year. As you lead into the first game of the year, you get 2 weeks to practice the game plan.
You guys were sitting at 3-3 midway through the season, had the bye week, come back. Everything's changed. 5-1 since then. The offense played better. Defense has really stepped up. What's changed on that side of the ball to where you guys are playing successful defense now?
Yeah, you know what? I think to the point of what we were just talking about, when you get those bye weeks or periods like this, you get to hit pause and you get to focus on nobody but yourself. Like, ultimately, competition starts from within. So it comes right back to us. What are the things that we're doing well? What are we not doing well consistently? And how can we improve on those things? A lot of the times this game just simply comes down to operation, the pre-snap, our fundamentals and techniques. Scheme-wise, we can run whatever schemes we need to here, but it's really about what do we do well and what do we need to run based off the opponents we're facing. I think in large part, too, is getting a feel for our personnel and then getting a feel for the things that we're going to see in this league that maybe we don't see year-round, and us banking reps at it and devoting our time to the things that we know we needed essentially to make up time on. Some of the bigger sets that we don't see all the time that we're starting to see early on in the year in that first month and a half of the season.
I guess when you self-scout yourself, I know there's one more game left. How do you feel about how the defense performed this season? Satisfied? Could be better? At this point,
always better. Always better. If you're growing, you're always trying to find ways where you can get better. And for us, like we talked about, the first couple games of the season, we did a good job, but it's within those first couple weeks of the season, the first month of the season, where overall whole team is really going to grow forward or stay stagnant. And we had to grow forward coming out of camp in those first couple games. We really went through probably 8 quarters of football that was not our best. Bottom line, the thing that we can be proud of is how this team approached that and finished within that bye week of sitting down and being able to look at the things that we need to get better at, and collectively as a whole team, we were able to go 5-1 down the stretch there. Obviously, we lost on a last-second field goal. Not something you ever would want. There's no moral victories. It's how do we get better from that one that we didn't win to be better in the future, and that's really what it's been about. And I can't ask anymore but to say that anything we've asked these guys to do, they've done. And that's why we've been able to grow and get better. And it's no different right now in the bowl prep. The expectation doesn't matter if you're coming back next year, you're a sophomore, you're a junior going to be a senior, you're a freshman coming back, or you're a senior and this is the last game you get to play. You represent TCU. You represent your very best. And that's what we're asking of the guys here in this bowl prep, is to compete.
You guys, obviously, when we talked to you at the beginning of the season, you said defensive line in the trenches is big up front for my defense. And Marcus Dill has been a guy that's just really come on strong this year. Can you talk a little bit about his development and how he's progressed?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. Like a guy like Marcus, Number one, his athleticism, his size, his athleticism combination, and how he's learned how to play the game and use his leverage, both in the run game and the pass game. He's been tremendous for us this year. And so for him to continue to grow and go out this season strong, I mean, how we finish this season is going to propel us into next year. And there's an example right there where he made a huge jump early on in the year, and now here's a chance for him to make a huge jump as we go into this last game. And there's other guys like that all throughout the defense, that we're looking forward to. Even guys like Bud. Like, Bud, how can we finish this year strong? How can we build right now and help grow in certain areas that are going to help propel you as we go into 25?
Speaking of Bud, he kind of said early this season that initially the defense, basically you guys had to build trust. How'd you go about that process? How much you think building that trust kind of helped you guys turn around after that?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about sometimes you got to go through the fire, and you got to be persistent, and you got to stay together and help pull each other through it and to come out the other side. And this game of football isn't something that you can microwave. And sometimes, unfortunately, you got to go that route where we went through. Like I said, I mean, shoot, it was probably 8 quarters of really tough football that really challenged us. The thing that I would say that I'm totally proud of this group and being a part of TCU is how these guys fought and stayed through it. And it was about that point in Kansas there in the second half when we made some critical plays to help win a game on the road, that we kind of started to get our stride back. And from there, going into that bye week was really where we got to hit pause. So guys like Bud that have been tremendous leaders, and some of these young guys too that got to play. You look at some of these guys that played because of injury that probably wouldn't have played. Like a guy like Travis, and without Paul taking a single snap this year, with Mike being out, Travis, the guy that had to step up, is a true freshman. Next year, we're going to be well off, a lot better off for how many snaps he played this year. And there's multiple situations like that where it's going to pay forward.
You were able to force some critical turnovers there towards the end, winning you guys some games. What was that? What was it about that, getting your team in that department?
Yeah, it definitely, turnovers come when you're attacking the ball, when you're fit and fast, whether it's the pass or the run, when you have that utmost confidence and mentality and you're attacking the ball. And so building that in where we can catch our stride and our rhythm, and be able to put ourselves in situations where it's not one guy, but maybe it's 2 guys, 3 guys. And that's something that's a huge emphasis right now as we go, we're a week and a half out from this bowl game.
You came down to the sideline earlier this year. What was the biggest part of that decision?
Just being able to be down there with the guys. Like, I wanted to feel what we're going through. I wanted to feel where we're at on the field. I'll be honest with you, I mean, a large part of it too is like you got these iPads and everyone just goes and puts their face in an iPad, and you lose the feel of being a team and a unit and how we're all working together. And that's something I definitely felt as I initially got down on the sideline in those first couple games. And, when we're at practice, we don't practice that way at all. You guys have been out there. We fly around. We have fun. We communicate with each other. And that's not who we are when we practice every single day. So there's certain things like that on game day that we needed to change to bring that vibe, to bring that momentum. And, being a part of them down there too, to support them and answer the questions, get us in flow, ask the things that they're seeing on the field face to face. We've done it both ways where we're either up top or down below, so it didn't really matter to us.
You guys had a lot of injuries as cornerback specifically, lost 2 guys for the season. I think Javon missed a game or 2. How did you kind of have to coach around it, and how do you think the secondary did despite being shorthanded for most of the year?
Yeah, we definitely grew. Now, we lost. Again, that's a part of the game, unfortunately. We lost some really good young men that have been productive football players for us, but again, it gave other people opportunity to step up and grow, and they had to. And as we went through that phase that we're talking about, and we played some personnel that were extremely challenging, they got tested. And I think because of those things, as we went through the middle of the year to the end of the year, they had that experience. It also gave them the confidence and the mentality they needed to play better down the stretch. Again, now we're thankful that some of these guys are coming back that played a lot this year that would have not if those things didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So it pays forward. As they say, sometimes there's growing pains in this game of football. You got to go through the challenges. But the thing about it is that I can tell you about this group is coming here every day when we were going through it was exciting because, again, these guys, the way they work together, if we put something in front of them and showed them how it was going to help us be successful, there was no doubt they were going to do it. And as coaches, we can't be any more thankful for that.
Any connections with Albuquerque or the Raging Cajuns prior?
First time I ever called a game as a defense coordinator was against them down there. I believe it was like 14 or 15. And then I played a few games in Albuquerque, being in the Mountain West. So the challenges are all there. This program has always been successful. They always have had really good players, and you can see from their coaching, their coaches have gone places that have been there because they've had success. Their coaches there have been successful while they're there, and that's why, there's guys that have moved on, and there's really good players. And so it's been that way for a while. Again, whatever it is, 10 years ago now, when we played them, they were a really good team then, and there was personnel issues that we had to defend. There was run game issues that we had to defend, and it will be no different in this matchup.